Good morning, everyone. This is Adrienne Fritz. I am the founder of Money for Something. Let me get my picture up so you can see me. Hi. How are you out there? Today we are going to cover a couple of topics. I've got some new news in the crowdfunding arena that I want to share with you. And then we're going to jump in to the presentation and following the presentation, training using the workbook. And you can download the workbook on our Google Plus page. And if you find that you're on the YouTube page, let us know on the YouTube page so we can capture your information and get the workbook to you. Okay, so good morning. Let's see, I'm going to switch over to my screen share for just a moment so we can all be on literally the same slide. And whoops, my computer's going rather slow, so hold on just a moment. There we go. So that's me. I'm an artist and I create live action role-playing games, mysteries. I love whodunits, and we typically do them for organizations or enterprises looking to, in a playful and fun way, raise funds for their projects and organizations. And I do produce those as well. And I'm a crowdfunding coach, which is awesome. I've been doing this for about 5 years now. Started with the Oregon Technology Business Center out of Portland, Oregon, and have been doing presentations, live presentations, sharing information, etc. Over those 5 years. And the webinars are new in 2015, so welcome to this webinar. Let's move on to the next thing. So I want to go through what's new in the crowdfunding industry, just a couple topics today, and then we are going to jump right into the presentation, the crowdfunding types, long-term sustainability, etc. Okay, I'm going to stop the presentation for a moment and pull up my news sources. And so today, I am very interested in letting you know, if you're in real estate, there's a bunch of movement in the crowdfunding arena around real estate. And the biggest news for today is that Acquire Real Estate used crowdfunding to fund its DoubleTree by Hilton at the DFW airport. I mean, this is huge news. So every project that's out there now is from the very tiny, maybe $1,000 campaigns on up to these multi-million-dollar real estate investments. And it's because the crowdfunding landscape has expanded so much. It's no longer just about pledge funding like on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, but you can actually invest now in companies through crowdfunding sites that specialize in that. And then we have another source that I'm going to talk about later today in the presentation, which is called community public offerings. And these are state-based programs that use crowdsourcing philosophy, which is having the crowd really come together and cause a business. In this case, you can actually own, in Oregon, for example, you can own a share of a company who's going through this process for $100. You don't have to be an accredited investor. You could be Joe Schmo off the street investing in your favorite coffee shop through the community public offering. So it's a very exciting new addition to the crowdfunding arena. So real estate, let me get back to my other screen here because I have, if you're on the Google broadcast, we have a comment section that has all of the documents and the links that we're going to talk about today. And if you're not on the Google Plus broadcast of this and you're on the YouTube, I'm going to defer the technology around YouTube to my business partner and wonderful life partner, Mark Vanderpool. Mark, would you just lean over and wave to everybody so they can see this is Mark?
Good morning.
He is our technology guru, and he is my business partner. He's a fabulous partner. He's getting his chops up around what is crowdfunding and what's the best way to do this, and he's got a pretty good working knowledge. So he will be taking care of your questions. He'll be monitoring both the Google Plus Hangout as well as the YouTube version of this. So,
all right, I'll see you over there.
Okay. So he'll work on how to get these links onto YouTube. Alrighty. In the meantime, you should be able to see on the presentation page on Google Plus the link to download the workbook. You're going to need the workbook today and for several of the future coming broadcasts as we work through step by step what it really takes to put together a powerful and effective crowdfunding campaign. So if you haven't downloaded that workbook yet, it's free. Please do so now. It's a PDF, and you can print it out on your printer, or you can read it online. The version that I've linked to should be the version that you can actually work with. You can put your data in that PDF, save it, and print your information. So do that as soon as possible. I've also noticed that sometimes it's difficult to save that PDF as its own entity with the data in it. So what I do is I will fill out the PDF and then print it as another PDF. So I'll save it as a second PDF so it captures all the data for sure that I've put in that document. So keep that in mind when you're going through and using that document. If you print it off, get a pen or pencil, and that's a surefire way of capturing all of your learning and the work that you start to do as you go through creating your campaign. Okay, I'm going to take a breath. I will release a second document at the end of this webinar, and it is a planning document. It's just a very simplified version of capturing what the plan is for your crowdfunding campaign. So look for that at the end of this at 10 o'clock. Okay, so news, real estate. Let me get the one link I have here. Oh, okay, so so there's I'm going to share a link that this is where we get some of our recent news. And where can I put this? So I'm going to put it in our presentation. So if you're in real estate, you really are going to want to take a look at this, because this is going to be an important, it's just real estate is taking over the crowdfunding arena in a good way. It's enabling all kinds of folks the ability to get funding in ways that just really weren't available before. Like you got to go to the bank and you've got to present your business plan, and it's got to cover 5 years and all of those things, which is really fantastic. A business plan is great, and sometimes it's really hard to be able to say, well, 5 years from now we're going to be here, and really justify it. So crowdfunding gives you an opportunity to actually put your idea out there, your concept, and then get live feedback on that from people who actually can make a difference for you. And if you're in Oregon and 20 some odd other states, you can use the same principles around crowdfunding to raise the community public offering that is available out there. So it's really exciting what's happening out there in the crowdfunding world. There's some not so good news as well. So Patreon, which is one of the largest subscription-based crowdfunding sites, their data was stolen, and it's been published on the internet. So if you know anyone or you yourself have any information on the Patreon site, which is a subscription site for artists and musicians and broadcasters, let your friends know. Go and change your login information, because it's public out there now. Who knows what's going to happen with that data? So as always, it's buyer beware, and make sure that you change your passwords frequently, and that you protect your own data, because even with credit cards, it's still, your data is at risk. So you need to be proactive. Go change your passwords. Okay. So much for that. Yes. So if you're on Patreon, again, get in there and change your data. Patreon's a fabulous crowdfunding site, and it's really a tragedy that they're experiencing this data breach. It just totally sucks. All right, there's another site that I just learned about. It's called HeadTalker. It used to be called Head Funder, and their underlying system was HeadTalker, and now it's just been converted to HeadTalker. HeadTalker, let's see if I can get this to you guys on my screen. HeadTalker is an exciting addition to the crowdfunding world, because it's completely enveloped inside of the best practices around social media marketing. And so they've included more social media opportunities for promoting your project than any other crowdfunding site at this point. So I want to just take you there for a moment. Oops. Thank you for bearing with me as I figure out how to manage all of my open screens here. Okay, here it is. HeadTalker, take your message viral. So they have added all kinds of amazing tools to really get under you and your project to get the message out into the social media world. So I would recommend that you take a peek at this one. And I'm going to share this link with you as well to the story that alerted me to this. Getting your message out is critical. Building your support system before you launch is critical, and your social media strategy and your plan is a key part of that. So I think these guys are really being responsible for that aspect of crowdfunding campaigning that is really, really critical, which is your social media connections and the relationships that you're building through social media, which is one of the big must-dos, folks. Big must-do is start to create relationships with communities, with individuals, with backers before you even launch. You want to be sure that you've got a community that's going into that campaign with you, because you do not want to try this alone. It doesn't work very well. So you want your communities to be activated and ready to go and share with you. And HeadTalker, check it out. Tell me what you think of it. And if you end up using it, tell me what your experience is like and how it facilitated really getting the word out about your campaign. I'm going to be trying it probably next year. We're kind of busy through the end of this year, so next year I'm going to give this a shot, but I'd really love it if you guys are out testing it. Let me know. Okay, so I'm going to put that link into our presentation today as well. This presentation will be available to you at the end of the webcast. I do, if I get an opportunity to change any of the content during the webcast, I like to include that. So you'll have everything that we covered in our webcast today. or at least links to it, plus the links to this video, which you can share with anyone. I mean, get this news out. We really want people to be empowered around how they can get their projects, their organizations, fund their ideas, especially those that are going to transform our world. Get this stuff out there. So once you have all these materials together, I urge you to share. Let everybody know. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the slideshow again. So hello, it's me again. We're going to head over to the slideshow. Okay. So I've put the links in. There you'll see them. And we are covering community public offerings today as well. So let's jump right into the rest of this presentation. So originally in the world, there were 4 crowdfunding types. And we're just going to do an overview so everyone is oriented in the same way. So we're all on the same page when we jump into working with the workbook. So there are 4 crowdfunding types. There's donation-based for individuals, nonprofits, and registered charities. Now, this has been around forever. Nonprofit fundraising is a crowdfunding activity, just not necessarily using the internet platforms that are available now. So that's something that we're familiar with. It's been around for a very long time, and it's got new legs online, which is very exciting, especially through sites like Indiegogo. Indiegogo is an international crowdfunding site, and nonprofits find a great deal of success using that platform. Rewards-based, so this is Kickstarter. Again, it's Indiegogo. Just about, I would say the majority, the highest percentage of crowdfunding sites is actually rewards-based. So the basic underlying concept to have a rewards-based crowdfunding campaign work is that you have a very clear pitch, which is what we're going to go over today, that your project is thought through, and that the rewards make sense. They must make sense. Your whole crowdfunding campaign is telling a single story, and that's the story about your project. So you even want those pledge levels, those pledge items at the $1 level, the 5, 10, 20, 25, whatever levels you choose. You want those to be building and expanding on the story of your project. And it could be that it's coming from community partners, some of those pledge items. So if you know an author, let's say you're a musician, and there's an author who has written an ebook on how to break into the music industry, that would be a great pledge gift in a rewards-based crowdfunding model it's in alignment with you as a musician and what you're doing. In addition to, obviously, your CDs, music videos, etc. That could be at different pledge levels too. Even writing songs, like original songs at a say $1,000 level, would be a great pledge item. So you want to think thematically when you start crafting your rewards. Lending-based models. Now this really has shifted a lot over the last few years, simply because some of the top loan models haven't really worked all that well yet. Fundable is the most successful of the business crowdfunding sites, in my purview at least, and there are more all over the world, and they do lend. So there's a model where you can crowdfund to get a loan from the crowd, and then you pay back the loan over time, whatever the agreed date is. Or there's the equity crowdfunding, where these are on the online sites. This is not the CPOs. This is the national and international equity crowdfunding. The investors are vetted. They are sometimes they're accredited, sometimes they're not, but mostly they're accredited, which means that they have had to reach certain income levels, etc., in order to invest. So on these equity sites, everybody is vetted. The investors are vetted. Your business plan is reviewed before your project is released on these sites. So it's a similar process if you went to a bank or an angel investor or a venture capitalist. You still have to have all of those instruments, your business plan, your spreadsheets, your cash flow, your projections, why you're the one to do this, all of those things. So if you're looking to go the equity crowdfunding site or the loan crowdfunding, then a business plan is necessary and critical. All right, and then of course the last one is the equity-based models. And on this slide, it says it's the holy grail of crowdfunding for registered companies. It really is. I mean, the amazing thing about crowdfunding is that it serves a couple of purposes beyond funding. The most important thing about crowdfunding is the crowd. It's who you're attracting to your projects and your companies, the investors that are coming to you. Though that's the exciting piece, because it's that group of people, those fans, those investors, those funders who will help in terms of you creating sustainability around your projects, around your businesses, etc. So those are some of the types. I also want to go back to the donation category for a moment. Kiva, small investments, small loans for countries all over, for projects all over the world. They are one of the longest sustained donation crowdfunding projects around, and they're highly successful, and you should check them out too, kiva.org, especially if you're supporting breakthrough small businesses in other countries.
Which type
to use?
So
if you're raising less than $50,000, we recommend that you use the rewards or debt-based crowdfunding platforms and ideas. If you're raising more than that, then you want to go to the debt or equity model. That's more traditional business fundraising, etc. And time-wise, actually, this is a little off rewards. You want to give yourself 3 to 5 months, even 6 months to plan the campaign, but no campaign on a reward site really should go beyond 30 days. You just want to keep it in a short window. You lose momentum, you lose energy. You really want to have a time frame that is workable for you. Equity, of course, it takes more time to put together a powerful campaign and really get your message honed, and to jump through all the hoops that you need to jump through to make sure that what you've got is a watertight, airtight business plan and idea. These are the 4 different platform types that are available. This is an older slide from 2013. However, most of these sites still are dominating each of those areas. So that hasn't shifted a whole lot. But this slide gives you a very good idea of where to go. There's overlap. Indiegogo, for example, is both rewards and donation based. And I believe they just announced that they're moving into an equity model as well. And I don't have the current news on that. I'll get that and send that out in the next newsletter, so everyone has access to the growth that's happening around in the crowdfunding arena. There's also one of the older powerful crowdfunding sites, Rocket Hub, has they've just been acquired by a larger company, which is giving them an opportunity to expand in all kinds of ways. And they have just crafted and working through details on a partnership with A&E Networks on an entrepreneurial program, television program. So it's very exciting what's happening in the crowdfunding arena, because it is changing the face of how we get things done in the world. We have a curated list of some of the world's crowdfunding platforms. We're going through it, updating, taking things out. We need to put new sites in. But this is a great place. It's a free resource to you. It's our big list of crowdfunding sites. And if you go to Money for Something, and the 4 is the numeral 4, moneyforsomething.com, under resources, or one of the sliders on the homepage, it'll take you directly to the big list. And it's a great place to start your research on where you could consider running your campaign if you're going out through public campaigns. We also include information on self-crowdfunding. So if you have a WordPress site, there's a plugin that you can use to create a crowdfunding platform on your own website, which would be great if you think about it. Let's say you've got an artist network and they're all online. What if you had a crowdfunding attachment to the site, so each of them could put up campaigns? That's an idea. That's an interesting idea. So there's those as well. And then there's also, if you don't have WordPress, if you're an HTMLer, hardcore website builder, there are opportunities for that too. There are companies that are supporting crowdfunding in that way too. So start with the big list of crowdfunding sites on our Money for Something site, and it will give you a serious overview of what's out there and how they compare to one another. So that's a great place to start. Now, in order for your campaigns to be successful, there are 2 big things that must be present in your campaigns, and you really want to pay attention to this. One is a project that inspires you. If you're not inspired, it will be very, very difficult for you to inspire your community and part of the rest of the world. God bless you. And so you want to be sure that the campaign you're going to be putting on a crowdfunding site or on your own site as a crowdfunding campaign, that you are passionate and deeply committed to this, because it is a boatload of work to put together a campaign and then to run a successful campaign. But it's a boatload of fun work if you're passionate about it. The second big thing is to create a marketing plan that you will implement. Now, we get into great detail on this in our crowdfunding intensive, but you don't want to use somebody else's marketing plan, because it may not work for you, and it's likely it won't work for you. So when you're creating how you're going to market your campaign, get the word out, presenting it, engaging people in conversations around the topic of your campaign, of your project, that is, you want to pursue marketing that actually makes sense for you and your project and your team. I think I should modify this this slide to say you need 3 big things, because the third big thing that you need is a team who is passionate and available and committed to your campaign as well. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. This is why you want to pay attention to these things, because a crowdfunding campaign is intense, it is tedious, and it demands your full attention and commitment. So love what you're pitching. The 3 must-have elements. I guess I included the core base of supporters. Your team is separate, but let's talk about the core base of supporters as well. So to succeed, give yourself plenty of time to plan the campaign, to reach out and build your community around it. And we really do recommend that you give yourself 4 to 6 months. Now, if you're raising $10,000, you might think that that's a bit crazy for a project, but it's not. The benefits of taking time to build out a very strong base and a strong messaging, and really getting clear on what your campaign will look like and how it will run, will benefit you far beyond the campaign. It is the building block of any new company that is launched today, or any new product that you're launching out of your existing organization or service. Giving yourself time to do this campaign justice actually gives you a very, very strong base for building your business, because you're the work that you do is about building relationships, and you can do that. You can build relationships through social media that are authentic, that are based on mutual interests and mutual commitments. So time, give yourself time. A compelling story, so your passion does become their inspiration. And there are pages in the workbook that you've downloaded or will download that helps you create that story, so you can really communicate that to the communities that you'll be reaching out to. And then a strong core base of supporters and a growing fan base. So, you know, I subtitle this, there's no free ride in crowdfunding, and there really isn't. You are the shepherd of your own crowd. And if you're building a business or you're building a tool or you're building a game, you want those relationships. So it's best to just get over the idea that you put it up and people will come. That generally doesn't happen. It's less than 1% of the campaigns over the last 5 years that have attracted crowds just based on the outrageousness of the idea, like the potato salad campaign was one of those. The vast majority, over 99% of the campaigns, you need to do the work that were successful. You need to do the work of creating that base of supporters and growing your fan base ahead of time. And this gets back to the previous slide where I want to add, 2 slides ago, where I want to add that there's 3 big things, the third big thing being your team. Your team is the very first group, very first community to build, because they then can help you build the fan base. Okay. The Venn diagram to campaign buy. So these are the elements that you'll be thinking about, planning, strategizing around, and then creating the actual plan. It needs to include all of these elements. So storytelling, clearly, telling your story succinctly and with passion is critical. Your social network, so you start with your team and then your team helps you build out your social network. Or if you have an existing social network, this is your opportunity to reconnect with that network and really profoundly understand what it is that they are interested in and what they're looking for, and how that matches up with what you have to offer, so you can renew these relationships if you've already got a strong base of supporters. The reward system, again, I'm reiterating, those pledge items and the reward system, you want them to be consistent with the story that you're telling, so everything works as a whole, as a complete machine that is getting the news out about what you're doing and impacts the communities in a way that's actually valuable to them. And then engaging people through videos and incentives. And you can engage people in other ways as well. It really is, again, about your passion, your authenticity, what it is that you're out to achieve with them, because it's not just you, you're doing this with them. So even if you're an author, it's your readers who have you become a successful author. So you're doing this with those people in your networks. So engaging them is critical. And you don't just engage by saying, hey, support me. That's one way. But you want to really look at the story that you're telling about the product or project, company, service, item that you're distributing it out in the world. What is the story, and what are those talking points in the story that will engage your communities? All right, I'm going to just quickly jump through these slides. I'd like you, when you download this slideshow and some of the other bits and pieces that I'll be providing you after the webinar, I'd like you to take some time to actually go check these out. So that means going to Indiegogo to check out the Nikola Tesla Museum project, because it's just an amazing, amazing successful project. And then around sustainability, Bunny with a Tool Belt. So these are the slides related to the case study, the Tesla Museum. So if you don't know who Nikola Tesla is, he was the competitor to Thomas Edison in terms of how to get power to the masses. And Tesla sort of lost that competition in a way, but in his legacy, he's got a huge fan base across the world because Tesla's ideas are just unique, and his story is unique. And so there's just this prolific, passionate community around Tesla and his concepts. And so they put together this campaign to save the property and the building that had been his museum. So when you have a moment, do go check out the campaign. It was really well thought out. It is entertaining. It is audacious. And Tesla fans are among the most rabid fans of any group of fans I've ever run across in the world. I mean, world, this is global. The copy was relevant, like the storytelling, the pledge items went with, I mean, the whole thing was just a really beautifully designed campaign. So check that one out. And remember I told you about the team, building your team. The key team member for this campaign, the folks who wanted to do this went out and recruited the fella that does the oatmeal. It's an online comic. He has over 1 million subscribers, and these guys are just totally invested in the oatmeal and what he publishes. So he was like the #1 asset that was brought into this. You can find that for your project too. There will be someone out there who is as passionate as you are about what you're doing, who's got a community that you can tap into, because it'll make a difference. What you're doing will make a difference to that community. Okay, and we're just going to quickly look at Bunny with a Tool Belt. This is Portland, Oregon artist Hillary Pfeiffer. She already had a successful art career, and she worked it the way all the other artists I've ever known work it, starving for the first gosh knows how many years, and then really turning her eye to different avenues where her art became a sustainable business for her. And then she stumbled on crowdfunding. And so she has run several successful campaigns. So she is a serial crowdfunder. Now, if you're an artist, if you're somebody who has a webcasting show, if you're an author, if you're anyone who does serial work, so serial publications or a series of books, a series of tools that your community that you're targeting uses, consider creating ongoing campaigns to help you create a sustainable business and cash flow related to that, and development cycles, because crowdfunding is a great tool for testing your ideas. And this is Hillary and some of the projects that she's done, and she has great products. She's great at relationship marketing. She's really, really great with her people, and she does have a commitment to planning. Even though it may not come natural to her, she has developed a way and a team with whom she can plan to achieve her goals. So again, the team word is there. It's a good 4-letter word. And this is, again, why I say she succeeded. The same as the Tesla project. And here are her campaigns, so you can go through and check all that out on Kickstarter. Equity and debt based, we covered that a bit earlier. This is just very high level around it. You will need to do your own research, and you can again start with the Money for Something big list of crowdfunding sites to get you going in that research, because this is more in alignment with what you would do for VC, angel funding, bank funding, etc. Okay, community public offerings. So this is a new exciting crowdfunding that's out there that I've mentioned, and this is what it is. It's a new tool for Oregon-based businesses to raise up to $250,000 from fellow Oregonians. It was made legal through the Oregon Intrastate Offering Exemption Rules on January 15th, and it offers the chance to raise capital from all Oregon residents, regardless of wealth. This is huge news in the equity world. Before the CPO, your investors would need to be accredited. That means they had to have a combined net worth of $1 million or $2 million. They had to have cash flow at a certain level. I think it was $250,000 a year of income. All of these thresholds that they needed to meet before they were allowed to invest in any organization. So this is like this is groundbreaking. Like I said, the guy off the street, if you're a coffee shop and you're going through the CPO process and one of your regulars comes into the coffee shop, you can even advertise that you're selling shares within certain parameters, but you can have a little sign on your a pop-up display saying, hey, for a mere $100, you can own a chunk of your favorite coffee shop. So that's just really, really exciting. It's new in Oregon. There's only been a handful of projects that have made it all the way through the cycle to funding. And then there's a couple hands full going through the process right now. And I expect as Hatch Oregon, it's an organization out of Portland, Oregon, as they go about the state sharing this information, I suspect that the number of applications and CPO projects is going to balloon. These are the states. Now, this was as of a couple weeks ago. Well, actually, this is May 2015. The exemption that's been enacted. So the green states, all of those states are like Oregon. They have something similar to the Oregon CPO process. The in-progress states, the yellow ones, I'm sure some of those are green now. And then there's, I don't think anyone, maybe Washington, D.C. is the only entity that has rejected the exemption. So everywhere but Washington, D.C., and then the gray states, they haven't begun their processes yet. So the green and yellow states, good news, good news for you folks out there. Now what do we do? I'm going to go through these last slides. Point blank, these are me telling you what's available through moneyforsomething.com through our organization. And a lot of these are free tools, like the workbook that you're downloading today. And then some of this isn't. We have an intensive course that's 6 weeks long that takes you by the hand, step by step, through building your campaign. So let's just take a look at these slides. Okay, the big list we've already talked about several times. Do you get that's really a valuable list? It's free. Use it, use it, use it. These webinars, we do them twice monthly, the first Wednesdays and third Tuesdays of the month. Bring your friends, bring your communities, have them get this information. I will be changing up the topics. It won't always be this slideshow. It's going to be different shows, different conversations, but this is the base conversation. So have them view this particular video and then get them engaged in the free webinars, because truthfully, through the book, the workbook and the planner, the 3-month strategy and planning sheet that you'll get at the end of this webinar, plus these Get Funded webinars, that's enough for any DIYer to get it together in a powerful way and launch a powerful campaign. And all of those things are free. So take advantage of this and make sure your community takes advantage of these as well. Okay, and here's some of the stuff that you get. So that's the workbook you're downloading. The sheets on the right, there's some more planning sheets. You won't get those today. Those are actually part of the crowdfunding intensive, but you will get the basic workbook that takes you through all of the major elements that you need to address in order to craft a really powerful campaign. The spreadsheets, again, there's paper versions of the pledge package and the expense budget in the workbook, but when you take the intensive, we have Excel spreadsheets that have been designed, and it's even expanded into Google. We have a whole series of Google Docs now too that are part of the intensive, thanks to my last class and the contributions those folks made. So there's this wide array of very valuable, powerful tools that help you with the financial end and the planning end of your campaign. And then we're developing an online, we have a video library where you can review all of our Get Funded videos. And you'll see a progression. We've gotten much better over the last year, but the information is really, really valuable. And this is when our next intensive starts, October 20th. It's just around the corner. There's the calendar. The work days are about five hours each of these work days. And that's October 20th and the 27th, November 10th and 17th, and December 1st. There's 5 work days. And in those work days, we cover just an aspect, one of the aspects of a campaign. And then for the week between, or 2 weeks between, you are out there crafting your campaign, building your team first, getting your vision and mission really clear, and then crafting the campaign, and your team goes to work with you during this process. So everything is moving forward. Our main email is empower@moneyforsomething.com. Please reach out. My number too, my direct line is 971-217-8040. Call me. Let's have a conversation. And these are some of the resources that we use to put together this slideshow. And I want to thank you for hanging out for the 40 minutes it took for us to go through this, or 30 minutes. Okay, back to me. Ooh, a lot of light. There we go. Oops. See if I can not look so pale there. Okay, so let's go through the workbook. So I need to open that up myself. I'm going to take you through the workbook. Let's get it opened up here. Okay, good. I'm going to share my screen again. Actually, I think I'll share it over here. I'm working with two screens. It just makes it so much easier. All right, I'm going to screen share again, and we're going to go through the workbook. Okay, so this is the document that you'll be downloading today, the workbook. And it's a PDF, and you can either fill it out, as I said earlier, save it when you're working with it. My recommendation is that you save it, you print it as a PDF, so it has integrity in keeping all of the information that you type into it. Because I have had it where I've worked through the workbook on a project, saved it with a new name, and all the data was lost. So I tend to do both now because I don't know when it's going to work and when it isn't. So the first thing I do is print my completed workbook, or even if it's partially completed, so I save the data as a PDF. And we just go through, and these are all the basics. So almost every site, in fact, every site I've ever seen, you need this basic information. Your team, you'll see that's on the very first page of brainstorming your pitch. Your team, again, is critical. So you want to start recruiting people to help you with this project. And there are a number of ways that you can benefit your team. You can offer them a percentage of the take when the project is done. It may be that if going back to the music example, if you're a musician and a singer-songwriter and you're putting out an album, and one of your team members has written a book on how to succeed, an ebook or a book on how to succeed as a singer-songwriter, and you're using that as a pledge item, that person has that book at stake in your project. So you can come up with all kinds of ways. There are people who just love what you do and would do anything for you. They're just waiting for you to ask. Ask them, and they will come. That's when they'll come. The people in your life who love what you do and are really vested in you succeeding, or a community that's invested in you succeeding and they succeeding with you. So let your mind open as you brainstorm around who could be in your team. And you also, I'm going to go back to that page for a second. You also want to think in terms of 2 very basic skill sets, team members that you want, and this is either you hire these folks or they are key team members that have a stake in what you're doing. One is a marketing person, someone who has some skill, some experience around social media marketing and guerrilla marketing. Those are your 2 primary marketing avenues that are low cost. It's high energy, it takes time, but they're also the ones that produce those beautiful, amazing, tight relationships that you want to create around crowdfunding. So somebody with those skill sets, somebody who's done some online marketing. It could be in Portland at Portland State University, they have a social media marketing certificate, and there's a whole, and the program is taught by many of the people I know who are at the cutting edge, the leading edge of social media marketing. These are the guys that globally are making a difference around the social media marketing world, and they're teaching that program at PSU. So if you can set up an intern program where you just have a single intern from that particular certificate program, or it could be a 4-year program too, I'm not clear on that, but just imagine the power that you would have with that teammate, and they would get college credit. So marketing, somebody around the marketing arena. The second person that you want to recruit for your team is a producer or a project manager. So if you're in the film world or music or theater, you guys know what a producer does. You need a person like that on your team. In the tech world, game development, and some other arenas, the title is project manager or project coordinator, but you need someone who loves details, can help you organize the details of the project, and then is powerful in communicating those details and inspiring the rest of the team and fulfilling on the details to make your campaign work. So again, a marketing person and a project manager, those are your 2 critical team members. And you can, take a look at where you need, what kind of skill sets you need to pull in for the rest of your team. Okay, and so we just go through the pitch. You're going to play around with title, your project blurb. You want to keep it short because, like your project blurb, you want it to show up on the Google searches. You want to be able to use it in your Twitter posts, etc. So we're just keeping things short and to the point. Now you may have to write pages and pages and pages of content and then edit it down to this. That's fine. Use the workbook as a starting place to begin to craft these bits of information, this content that is going to be critical in your pitch. Funding goal, duration. The duration of campaigns, really, they've all boiled down to about 30 days. You really want to keep your campaign to around 30 days. Now that will be different for when you go to like a fundable site, an equity or a loan-based site. You can stretch it a little longer, but you don't want to go too long. And the people at Fundable and these other equity sites, they've got FAQs and all kinds of information available to you to help you determine the duration of the campaign. So your funding goal is going to include all kinds of budgeting things, and we'll get to the budgets in a moment. So this page is sort of your last page that you do, even though we present it earlier in the workbook. Time frame, again, you want to think of not just in terms of building up, like you want to give yourself at least 3 or 4 months to build the campaign before you launch. Then you've got 30 days for the campaign. And then there's, well, how long does it take to get the money? So you want to build in a couple of weeks to be able to collect the money. And then another couple weeks, because some of the folks who pledge, their bank account may not have the funds in it at that time, or the credit card couldn't be maxed out, and you need to get a second credit card. You need to get people's addresses so you can ship things. That takes time. So you want to spend, at least 30 days just for all of those details, sometimes a bit longer. And during that time, your team wants to be communicating what's happening all the time, at least a weekly update on what's happening post-project once you've succeeded with your campaign. So here's an example budget. You just start to build out your basic budgets using these worksheets. Elements of a great pitch. So this is another brainstorming thing you want to do with your team. We need your help. Yes, we know that. How else can you ask us? What else can you offer? What other ways can you entice me such that I really am going to step up and help you? What do I get out of this? And what do I get to give you as well? This is where you're really crafting your story, and we go through these elements in detail in the intensive. But again, use this as a way of drafting your initial ideas. And if you need to work on a separate document that's pages long, do it. Don't limit yourself to what you put down on paper. You can always edit. You can always cut back. Use your team to help you hone the messages. But get the stuff out of your head and into these formats. Elements of a great video pitch. These are just high-level bullet points. I would suggest you find some resources around shooting video. One of my favorites is a book called How to Shoot Video That Doesn't Suck by Steve Stockman. And I'll make sure that you have a link to that in case that's the book you want to follow. There's a lot of resources online too. Brainstorm your perks. Here's your perk budgets. So there's 3 budgets in a crowdfunding campaign. There's the project budget that the campaign is funding. There's the pledges or perks budget. That's the stuff that you're going to be shipping in exchange for the money that people are pledging to you. That has a budget. And then there's the budget of running the actual campaign. So I mentioned earlier that you may want to hire someone in the marketing or the project management realm. You may want to hire someone to just take care of all the contact information. There could be people that are just, there's costs associated with running the campaign, and you want to be fair about that with yourself and give yourself room to create that budget. This is a version of the 3-month spreadsheet, and you'll be able to download a separate document that is, again, you can fill it in Adobe, in the PDF reader, Adobe Reader, and you're going to want to print it as a PDF to save the data. But this is a great planning sheet. There's 3 columns and 5 rows. The columns could be months. The columns could be tasks or topics that you need to deal with. Just print out a bunch of these and use them as an initial planning tool. And oh, that's my son, Colin. He was my original partner in this, and this is just a hint on giving yourself goals and tasks in time, so you actually are able to track where you've been, where you're going, and course correct if necessary. And the final page is just getting you set up to do Facebook posts. All right, so that's a quick overview of the campaign workbook. And we're nearly out of time. We have 1 minute. So we didn't get it to any questions, and I don't know that we received any on any of the platforms. If we did, we will address those in the next newsletter that comes out next Monday, this coming Monday. If you haven't registered for the newsletter, please do. it contains information about upcoming Get Funded webinars, links to news, and a link to registering into the next intensive, which is coming up very, very soon. All right. That's it for now. Is there anything you can think of to add?
No, no questions.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We will get this link to the recording out to everybody via our Google page, our Facebook page, and LinkedIn. So you can share this video with other people in your life. And when they register, if they sign up for the newsletter, they will get these documents as well. So, all right. Thank you so much. And we'll see you the third Tuesday of this month. Okay, bye.